This is Vamata King with Warframe Breakdown, where we break down Warframe so you can be broken in Warframe. Today what we're going to go over is the top 5 Warframe abilities that you can currently get inside of the Helminth. These are abilities that it doesn't really matter the Warframe that you throw on, you will be able to rock them and you'll be able to do an amazing job on them when you put these on your Warframe. So if your Warframe's a little bit of squishy, you're going to throw on some health and regen mods or some damage taking, some abilities that will take damage. If your Warframe lacks the capacity to deal the damage necessary, then you will throw on some of these abilities to increase the damage. So the top ability that we have here is going to be we'll start with the bottom one. So the 5th best one that you're going to want to throw on your Warframes is going to be what our newest one for 2021 is, and that's going to be your Gloom that you get from Sevagoth. And the reason why Gloom from Sevagoth is really good, if we pull up the ability here, Gloom, what it does is it expands its radius over a period of time, very similar to Nova's Prime, which is an ultimate. Nova's that prime, just because it expands at a certain rate and it slows down the enemies, and then you also get a life steal to all the enemies that you kill. So because of that natural life steal effect, it's really good at helping you get the health regen that you kind of need just from killing and dealing damage to the enemies. It's a large AoE. If your Warframe is a very large AoE Warframe, and it can go across the entire map, but maybe it struggles at the higher tier levels, or maybe just the enemies get too close and you just can't get the health that you need in order to be able to stay long enough to deal the damage to them. This is going to be one of the ones that you're going to want, especially if you're going to be using this to synergize with Hunter, Adrenaline, or Rage. The 4th best ability, we're going to go over this list before we actually show this, is going to be your Dispensary. It doesn't really matter what you throw on which Warframe you throw this on. For the most part, Dispensary is going to be really good. It has a really nice synergy with your Necromechs because it drops out the energy orbs. Your Necromech can walk over these energy orbs and pick them up. And so if you're trying to do like a Tricap or Hydralisk hunt, and you want to do it solo, but maybe your weapons don't deal enough damage, but your Necromech does, Dispensary on any of your Warframe is going to make it effective to use your Necromech against the Eidolons. It will give you your health and your ammo, and it just makes any Warframe good for Eidolon hunts, or just any Warframe get the energy it needs when there's no energy available on the field. The 3rd best one is going to be Grendel's Nourish. And when we get to these next 3, especially these damage ones, just to be clear, the standard for all damage buffing abilities is going to be Rhinos Roar. Everybody always goes like, Rhinos Roar is amazing. When you activate it, everybody's damage goes up. So if we look at Rhinos Roar versus like his actual Warframe himself, Rhinos Roar has on Rhino Prime itself a very high damage output and percent increase. So because that damage percent increase is much higher when it's on Rhino than when you grab it from the Helminth, it does add a certain standard that you're expecting when you get it. So you might actually sacrifice a Rhino to the Helminth in order to get Rhino's Roar. But if we pull up Rhino's Roar here, we're going to pull up the base stat here, and you can see. I threw Eclipse on. Let's see. Let's go Rhino, because it doesn't really matter which one we use. We go Rhino here, and we look up the Roar there. You can see that it has a damage percent increase unranked at 10%. When that is maxed, I believe it does go all the way up to 50%. Oh, wait. Nope. Yep. So it says just the ability unlocks at rank 5. So it does go up to 50% from the Helminth. I'm pretty sure it even goes up to 75%. So because of that, when we go to the Helminth itself and we're looking at Roar, and you're going to put it on a Warframe, probably not Rhino. Let's see. We'll go Roar. You can see that this one only has a 30% versus a 50% on Rhino. So 30% here versus 50% on Rhino itself. So it's going to be significantly lower there. That's not a high amount of ability damage output. But when we look at Grendel's Nourish, for instance, Actually, we'll just go to it. Grendel's Nourish is one of the only Warframe abilities that when you actually subsume it to the Helminth, you actually get a higher percent increase. The ability across the board gets buffed versus other abilities. So if you look at this one, well, this is typically on Grendel. You have 3 abilities there. On Grendel, it's a cycle similar to Titania's or the Quiver or those kinds of abilities. You have to cycle through them before you activate them, before you actually get the buff. So because of that, Nourish, when you put it into the Helminth and you actually pull it out and put it on another Warframe, all 3 of those buffs actually all activate simultaneously for you, so you don't actually have to cycle through them, which means it's actually buffed going into the Helminth. So as you can see, the Nourished Armor, you get a damage of 250. The Nourished Strike, the damage multiplier is 1.5. That's 150% Toxin. That's 150% damage increase versus the 30% that you saw earlier. And then there's an energy multiplier of a 1.25 when you throw it on. And those are all base stats. That's even before like you rank them up or do anything with them. So Grendel's Nourish also gives you that 300 health back when you are trying to regen. So health, as you can see, is 50. When you do have a high ability strength, is like 300%. It does get pretty crazy high. So you get health on the cast, you get a damage buff. So if you're having a Warframe that is suffering in 2 aspects, damage from your weapons, and it's struggling to actually regen health, Grendel's Nourish is going to be where it's at, and this is going to resolve that problem. Now, say health isn't an issue, and you really just need your Warframe to do a lot of damage. Take, for example, Inaros. Inaros automatically has a high health capacity, but his entire kit is all about getting health back anyway, so you can basically survive the mission, but none of his abilities are really crowd control based. None of his abilities are all that geared towards having high damage output. It's all about health, like every single one of his abilities. Armor, health, armor, health, armor, health. Desiccation, when you basically hit the enemy, you melee them from behind, you get the lifesteal of 25%, you deal true damage to them. Devour, you pull them into you, you get health back, it deals true damage. Then his Tornado basically crowd controls all the guys up, but it's in a small AoE. Most of the time you're building for the ability strength, so you can eat the guys or get the high amount of lifesteal back. Or the Scarab Armor, you get the health radius, and then also you can cast it on enemies and basically use your Devour on them. So all of his kit is basically about regenerating his health. He doesn't have a lot of damage, but if we look at Mirage's Eclipse, for instance, look at that damage increase. So I have him built with high health, and now I can get high damage based on my weapons. This one, it has it at 301.5% versus your 150% that it is. That is, what is it, 30% for Rhinos Roar versus this damage increase, 150%. There's no comparison. And in fact, a lot of people is like, oh, well, you do have that thing, like when you're inside the nighttime, that you actually get the damage resistance and set up to 95%. Ironically, though, that damage reduction up to 75%, there's a way to bypass that, and it's quite simple. You go to Appearance here, you go to Attachments, and you go to Ephemera, and then if we go, let's see, I think they're all the way at the bottom, Vengeful Charge Ephemera. This Vengeful Charge Ephemera has an aspect about it where it automatically always puts you in the night aspect, regardless of what state you are, because this is really, really, really bright. So it treats it as if it's its own light bulb. So because it treats it as if its own light bulb, it actually guarantees that you're only getting the damage buff if you throw on the Vengeful Charge alone. So that increases your damage, so you always get it, so you always get that 300%. You're not worried about the damage reduction. If you really do want to have that individual choice while you're inside game, just you don't have to use this Ephemera. Just choose a different Ephemera, and then you can get the damage reduction in as well. So you get a damage reduction and a damage buff. That's pretty amazing, and it's well over, like, what is that, 5 times that of Rhinos, since he is the standard for ability damage increase. And these are the 2 abilities that actually, in an aspect or a way, actually get buffed when they get thrown into that Helminth rather than nerfed. Don't know if DE will look at it. DE, if you're watching this, please look away. don't don't nerf these. These are so important to the player gamer base because that's how they're able to survive those high tier missions. So it's very important. And then the last one that we have is actually Baruch's Lull. Now Baruch's Lull, let's go over it. It is absolutely insane. It takes Mirage and turns her into the greatest affinity grind in the history of the game. And let me explain to you why. So, Lull We'll demonstrate these too, but we're just going to go over this. So we'll look at LOL, and you can kind of see. It even sounds like a joke, like LOL, LOL. So what it does is it has a couple of interesting things that happen in here. So the very first and foremost is it puts the enemies to sleep. Now when these enemies are put to sleep, they also have a thing called a forget mechanic that's put in. Because they're put to sleep and they have a forget mechanic, they're opened up to finishers. So as you can see there in the little video, Baruch, he's just able to go up to him and he's just able to hit X on him and just immediately do a finisher on him. And there is another aspect to this, and that's the augment mod that goes with LOL. The augment mod that goes with LOL actually makes it endless, so you never really have to recast the ability again. So let's take for an example my Ivara. I went ahead and threw this on my Ivara. We'll go to Ivara. And we're going to show these in practice as well. So we got Ivara here. If we go to abilities, we got, that's not the right Ivara. Let's go to our mods here. And we're going to go through to our third configuration here. Okay. What we did is we took out the second ability of Ivara and we went ahead and threw LOL on, and we built her for a max ability range and a max ability duration. And as you can see, that generally across the board helps out everything that she has. Doesn't really help out Artemis Bow, but Artemis Bow actually helps synergize with Quiver so that you can get your other benefits in with Prowl as well. So now when we're doing LOL, because it puts all the enemies to sleep, and because Ivara is a spy frame and you are invisible, you do get what they call a stealth kill. Now, stealth kill, when you get you can actually stack up the kills. When you stack up the kills, you can get it to be all the way up to a 500% affinity gain, as well as a 500% damage buff. So essentially, it's an insta KO for every enemy that you come across. So we'll go to the simulacrum to demonstrate these abilities, but LOL is definitely the number one at the top. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with Gloom, and then we'll go ahead and show all these abilities in practice as they pertain to these Warframes. So we got Sevagoth here. We'll go with Sevagoth. Sevagoth has Gloom on, so that's why I'm just going to show him in practice. And since he has, and we're going to show you how crazy these things can get. Nope, not that one. That's for the next video. So here we go. We got LOL on. And let's go show Gloom and LOL and how you can stack these two abilities on various different Warframes and how you can make them literally insane. And we'll just do a couple of Warframes just to demonstrate some of these. We'll do probably a Warframe each. Dispensary is kind of sort of important for other Warframes, say like, yeah, Protea is a good one. You could throw it on a lot of your ability duration for dispensaries. Grendel's Nourish is just really good, just generically across a lot of Warframes. So Gloom and when you see Gloom and LOL and the way that they behave just with Sevagoth's kit, if you were struggling before, say in like Steel Path, I know I did a video a while back where I had myself die so that you guys could see its passive. I went ahead and threw LOL on, and that resolved all my issues with him dying all the time. So we'll go ahead and go down here. Because if we put all the guys to sleep and they can't attack us, then it doesn't really matter now, does it? Here we go. Oh, we'll just go to the ballroom. So Gloom will slow them down. It will also add to the well when I make kills in it, especially if I activate the second with it. So we'll go like this. We don't really need to make ourselves invincible. It won't really matter. We'll throw on some more corrupted heavy gunners. And we'll go like this. Okay. And then we'll go like this. Now watch this. This is insane. Okay. Now the guys all knocked me down, but now they're all asleep. Oh, the lag spike there. Look at that death well. It's just filling up all casually. Now the number of procs is kind of sort of glitching out, so it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter. Okay, now we got our shadow up, so we'll just bring everybody here. And we'll bring that guy over here. Keep in mind, these guys are level 180. I didn't bother to decrease the level because it doesn't matter. Now, this works in practice as well as inside the simulacrum, so it doesn't even matter. We'll just kill him real quick. And all those guys just died, just like that, all level 180s, which that's going to be relatively equivalent to your Mont mission. That's what it's going to feel like. So if you saw how easy it was to kill there, it's pretty much what it's going to feel like in practice. So that's that was Lull and Gloom all stacking together. Now you want to kind of you might want to see some more evidence of, let's do Ivara, and let's look at Lull on Ivara. Let's see. These can get pretty crazy. I've seen some people throw it on Ash. Ash is pretty good too. It just absolutely breaks these frames. So like, oh shoot, this is not the right, this does not have all. Let's do that. Let's go like this. We'll have to switch our configuration. I don't know why I didn't make that my A configuration because of how broken it is. Because I did throw Endless Hole on, you're going to see how this just stays active a little bit better on this one than Sevagoth. You were kind of sort of seeing it begin with Sevagoth, but you'll see it even more so now. So we'll simulate all these guys. Oh geez. Oh, that's why. And now they're just all asleep. And you just whisper in their ear, sleep. Now, the one bad thing with Sevagoths is that I don't know if you were noticing, the Sevagoth's Shadow couldn't actually hit X on those guys. Sevagoth's Shadow cannot do finishers, so a little bit of a bummer that the Exalted Warframe can't do finishers, but nonetheless, it's still an effective method. Now, let's see, do we got one more guy? One more sleepy? There we go. And that's all the guys. So as you can see, it's just crazy broken with Ivara. So you're going to always get your stealth kills. You're going to get your stealth kill damage. Let's see, maybe we'll do Ash. My Ash is rank 11. We'll see. We'll see how an unranked Warframe does against this. Okay. Oh, oops. Let's switch out our kit here. Where did I? Oh, it is there. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and switch out our kit. You can see how crazy wool is just even on this Warframe. Oh shoot, let's get some energy. Oh shoot. Maybe if I was better practiced. Here we go. There we go. Just put them all back to sleep. There we go. That's what we're trying to get. It's so weird when you're switching back and forth between these guys. Okay, here we go. And they're just all asleep. And you can do this with Baruch too. Anybody who's ever played Baruch knows that it's pretty overpowered. I'm pretty sure the reason why people don't play Baruch nearly as often is because they just think he's ugly. But they've come out with a couple of Tenogens, so there's that. There we go. So yeah, it makes Ash pretty powerful. Did die, but so not nearly as effective as the other Warframes. But you can throw it on Ash, you can throw it on Loki. Just lulls just are really really crazy. Now let's look at Eclipse. You saw it on my Inaros, so let's go ahead and bring out my Inaros. Let's show some Eclipse and see how the damage fares. Let's actually get a decent weapon that can actually wreck these guys. We'll go maybe we'll go with the Kuva Ogress. Yeah, Kuva Ogress. People don't really like Kuva Ogress, so I'll go ahead and use that one. I love the Kuva Ogress. I don't know why necessarily everybody doesn't like it as much as they probably should. So we'll go ahead, we'll just put ourselves into light. We'll just make all these guys die at the hands of Eclipse. Nothing to see here, nothing to worry about, just a whole bunch of Grineer dying and the flames engulfed made by our wonderful... Oh, let's get out of that, let's get into the sun. I could probably throw on the Ephemera to see how I always stay in the light. Just throwing a little desecration there, and wow, look at that, all the guys are dead. So that one's a pretty good one. Maybe Dispensary on, say, like a Nyx. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I have Dispensary on my Nyx. Let's go Nyx. Let's go to abilities. Let's see, it does not look like I necessarily have Dispensary. Do have a high ability. Oh, I do have one with a Dispensary. Here, we'll do this one. And this one will actually, okay, cool, we do got a shield egg. Let's see how broken this one is in comparison. Here we go. And I'll kill these guys as I get my energy, just like that. As you can see, I got my full energy. I'm going so fast, my computer decided to lag out there. I could probably even throw an Lol on instead of Dispensary, and I could probably be just as effective here. Especially since you can get that energy drop chance increase from Lol, which just makes it really, really nice to just keep on going. Maybe throw an Endless Lol on. But Assimilate definitely is what's making this build thing, as well as the Dispensary, just being able to cast it and just have it whenever I need it. I'm using my Psychic Bolts there, just to strip their armor there a little bit, rather than having my first. just because if they have no armor, then and they only have health, and you can just go through them faster. This one doesn't have 100% armor strip, which is why they're not dying nearly as fast, and I'm using gas damage. I do have a build that uses 100% armor strip, so their entire health bars change. So you can actually see the benefits of it a little bit easier on that one. But I went ahead and went with this one just because it has the dispensary. I've been using this one more so for like a defense build, because as you can see, my AoE is really, really large. This is large enough to cover the defense target, but it's the only one that I have dispensary on, so it's the one that makes the most sense to demonstrate this principle here with the dispensary and how it can just keep on giving you energy. So now I got 175 energy back just from picking up that energy orb from when it dropped on that one flower. And as you can see, my energy just keeps going. Now you will find that it struggles a little bit more with Eximus units, because Eximus units do have that leech. But any Warframe that is heavily reliant on its energy is going to suffer from an Eximus unit and its ability to actually regen. But dispensary just, again, it helps out a little bit just by having that as an additional factor. So I guess your teammates can pick up the energy orbs while you pick up the dispenser. While you pick up, well, they pick up the health orbs while you pick up the energy orb. So you do have that going for you. Let's see, and Grendel's Nourish. Grendel's Nourish is, I've thrown that on a lot of my Warframes, like Ember. I'm pretty sure I have it on. We'll go to Ember. So here we go. There we go. As you can see, I got my Nourish. Nourish is really helpful with Ember, simply because she doesn't have anything that regens her health. She doesn't have any major, like, she has like Emolition, but if I do this and then I do that, I can just increase my damage insanely. Go. Because she has that really, really great crowd control aspect on her. And so see, they got my health down a little bit, but I can just bring it back up just with that, and it just gives me that 200, I don't know how much damage that is, 227 it looks like. 227 up in the top. It's not a perfect 275 it looks like. But the great crowd control that's done here, plus the health, makes it just all that much nicer. It does not seem like they like me all that much. Now I'm getting additional health that I probably would not be from this. Just because this is in the Simulacrum. We'll go get some more energy. We'll put that back on. Put that back up so we can get at max. Just to get that additional energy and toxin damage. My AoE is large enough that it is hitting me even from this distance away. That guy is like, what? 30 meters or so away from me. I'm getting hit by my own weapon. But yeah, all the guys are dead, just like that. So we've gone over Dispensary, we've gone over Mirage's Eclipse, and we've gone over Lowell, and we've gone over Gloom. And as you can see, they do have some pretty intense synergies with that. So those are the top 5 Helminth abilities. I definitely recommend stacking them, trying to get them to work in your benefit, and you can relatively throw those on any Warframe and be decent. Like, we could have thrown Lowell on Ember and been just as effective as you saw there, just simply because we were able to put everybody to sleep. So that's why Lowell's all the way up at the top, is because you can literally throw it on anyone and be fine. Mirage's Eclipse is really great because maybe you can take the hit with your Inaros the way you have it built, but you definitely have a lot of choice with Lowell and your style of gameplay when you go into missions. The one aspect about lull that we didn't go over was that your teammates will activate lull on your behalf. We've tested this multiple times. You can do it to squad. As long as you have the lull and the endless lull augment, your teammates will activate it for you on your behalf. So continue to break Warframe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.